Hey everyone, how you doing today? Good? Oh, that's great. Me? Oh, thank you. I'm doing fantastic, actually. Amazing. Why? Oh, you know, just because the next Ratchet and Clank game might be announced in like a month, and it might be everything that I've been wanting for the past 10 years of my life, and I'm kind of freaking out about it, but it's no big deal. So, quick impromptu video here addressing some big boy leaks that just occurred a couple days ago. This is very big if true. So there was a post on Reddit, and it was just a bunch of PlayStation 5 news, a bunch of stuff, leaks and rumors from who we know, have no idea who it was, and it got taken down because everything was just too good to be true. Like for instance, one of the things on there was like, yeah, backwards compatibility with like everything, and it's gonna work great. You might have to rebuy some of the PS3 games, but it'll be there. Like, oh great, yes, I can just play all the Ratchet games now, finally. I mean, it actually sounded kind of realistic, but I mean, still, everything else was like pretty blown up exponentially. They also addressed, they also had a big list of all of the launch games that will launch with the PlayStation 5, which was, I think, what did it say? I think October 30th. And with each game, a quick little like note paragraph of things about the game. Also, like a handful of games coming out after launch up to like 2021, 2022. It was a pretty ridiculous leak. You've probably heard about it by now. But one of the games in there was, of course, our boy, Ratchet and Clank. Now that sparked a bit of excitement, but of course this is a rumor. This is a leak. This is just a rumor. We don't know who it is. It actually got taken down again because it's kind of really out there. But I want to talk about this Ratchet and Clank leak because this is, okay, I have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm just gonna read it off to you first, and then we'll hit each thing here. So one of the games coming at launch with the PlayStation 5, new Ratchet and Clank game from Insomniac Games, start of a new trilogy and sequel to the Future series. The game has been in development since before the 2016 remake was released. This game sees the return of space exploration, hoverboots, and competitive multiplayer, which could be free to play. Still being decided. Okay. Now, first of all, the first thing that popped in my head when I read this was, what the hell? I literally just made a video about like each of these things in there. Whoever made this leak is probably a subscriber. They're either subscribed to my channel or it's all true. No, okay, let's break down each thing here. Let's start with the development since before the 2016 remake. So a lot of people, I guess, don't really believe that. They think like, no way, but I could really definitely see that being true. You know, it all depends on like what that really means. Like, I also even kind of see this meaning that they wanted to make a different game, but then the movie came around, and then they started making a game based on the movie, because the game wasn't announced with the movie, it was announced later, so maybe they weren't planning on it at first, but then they're like, okay, let's just quick make a PS4 game to go with the movie instead, and like put the other thing on the side, and now they're coming back to that now, maybe. But I could also see, since the PlayStation 5 is the same architecture as the PS4, you know, everything they made on the PS4 game can be used on the PS5, so to speak. I'm not a developer. But like, a lot of the stuff is already there. They could have been making stuff for the 2016 game and been like, oh, let's just quick, like, make this other thing for the next game real quick since it's like related or something, I don't know. Or it could have been as little as just they've been brainstorming about the game, like, oh, hey, next when we do the next game, let's like do this, or they just got, you know, a skeleton of the game, or some scratch notes, something, you know, who knows what development means exactly. But I do kind of see that being plausible. Also, an interesting note, Spider-Man started development in 2014, 2 years before the 2016 game Ratchet came out, so they were working on those at the same time. And Spider-Man came out in 2018, that's 4 years after it started development, 2 years after Ratchet and Clank came out, so with that pattern, you know, it makes sense for a Ratchet and Clank game to come out this year, 2 years after Spider-Man, if they keep up the same cycle, routine. I'm sure things are not always going to be the same for every single other game, but I mean, just historically with the last couple big releases. Just saying it's not impossible for it to actually make sense that they could have started development around then and that this game could actually come out in 2020 this year. The start of a new trilogy. Okay, this is actually something that I am addressing in the next video, which I actually just finished tonight, and it was supposed to go up tomorrow, but I'm doing this now instead. But basically what I had said was when Sony acquired Insomniac Games, Sean Layden said in an interview that, you know, Ratchet and Clank is vital for the future. We all know about that. I was just making a remark that saying vital for the future, that is a very strong statement. Vital is a very strong word. That, you know, I can't imagine them saying like, oh, this game, this franchise right here that has a bunch of previous games before it is vital for the future. Let's just do one more. Like, so a trilogy of like a new trilogy. Now the question is, does the 2016 game a part of that trilogy? I don't think so. I talk about that more in the next video. That's, you know, watch that one. I worked way harder on that one. I actually just uploaded that post-Nexus video like just now, before or maybe after this, so make sure you do check that out for more information about all that. And a sequel to the Future series. Again, this is the next video is the post-Nexus video that I'm talking about, where I talk about what the next game would look like if they continued the Futures series, the storyline. But it kind of turned into not just what it would be, but why I actually kind of think it is true. So I go way more in depth in that in the next video coming up again. But yes, I very strongly believe that the next game might truly be a sequel to the Future series, and I would really believe it that it is a new trilogy of games coming that continue. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it sounds true. It actually kind of sounds true. Moving on, this game sees the return of space exploration and hoverboots. So that right there, that's kind of interesting. In the same way that they said it's going to be a sequel to the Future series, that's kind of interesting because that means this person knows a little bit about Ratchet and Clank. They did at least some amount of research to know, because, well, Insomniac, they've said a couple times that if they were to do another Ratchet and Clank game, it would be a combination of the PS4 game and A Crack in Time. They know how much everybody loves A Crack in Time. They've told me personally, Ted Price told me to my face that they look at A Crack in Time for the standard of storytelling in a Ratchet and Clank game. So at least as far as storytelling, that's probably what we could expect to see, which is very exciting. As far as gameplay, I think they did say in one of their live streams that, you know, it would be a combination of the PS4 game and A Crack in Time, so space exploration, hover boots. Now this is also very interesting because I literally just made a video talking about an open world Ratchet and Clank game where I could see there being working with just open-ended space exploration. And again, I wasn't just talking about how cool that would be, but why I kind of think that might be the case. I actually want to go a little more in depth on why that might be the case in another video after the post-Nexus one. Unless they just announce the game first and I'm too late and then we all know already, so there's no point, but I mean, we'll talk about that later. And, okay, this is the most interesting thing here. This one really got me. And competitive multiplayer, which could be free to play, still being decided. Okay, the last video I uploaded was a Ratchet and Clank. I'm not saying that whoever wrote this watched my videos and is stealing my ideas. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a weird coincidence that I'm doing these things, talking about things that not just what I would like to see, but things that I kind of believe I wouldn't be surprised to see in the next game, like online cooperative. I specifically says, or not cooperative, competitive multiplayer. I said cooperative is probably out of the question. It's probably going to be competitive, and it might actually happen because this, and this. And now this person is telling us, yeah, it's in the works. Again, this is all a rumor. It's probably not a real thing, but this particular game, this rumor of this game, seems like it's kind of on the spot. It's so bizarre to me, because like who else is out there like, oh yeah, I think the next Ratchet and Clank game is gonna have online competitive multiplayer free to play. Who else was talking about that? That is just completely out of nowhere to like anybody else that seems like, oh, that is just the randomest suggestion. Why would you suggest that? But to me, I did research about it and I'm like, yeah, I determined that actually makes sense. And now here's this rumor that's saying, yeah, it's true. Who? How? Where did they get this from? Like this is either true or they just did a lot of research and they just know a lot about Ratchet and Clank and Insomniac Games. Like that right there makes me think that at least some of this stuff could be true. Suggesting competitive multiplayer free to play. Okay, I want to talk about the free to play line right there. I wasn't initially worried about the whole online thing being in the next game, but until they said free to play, when they say free to play, like why would you have to say that? Like unless it was a regular matchmaking like they've done in the past, why would you have to even suggest that it's free to play still being determined? Like that means it's like a big deal. Does that mean battle royale? Yes. No, I don't know. But probably, to be honest. Their own kind of Insomniac spin on some kind of battle royale thing. Who knows? But I know what everyone's concerned about that is, well, is that gonna hurt the single player campaign? They're working so hard. Well, I mean, okay, well, if they've been working on it since before 2016, probably not. They probably got a pretty good, heavy, solid storyline already. You know, if it's gonna be another trilogy, if it's vital for the future, if a bunch of reasons, things that I'm gonna talk about in another video, there's a lot of reasons. I don't think it'll hurt the main story that much. I mean, sure, they could have put it out earlier on PS4, and it could have been here now, and it would have been even bigger potentially, but it would have been on PS4. I don't know if they didn't do the online, but I don't really think it's a big deal. But free to play makes me think of what's that term? I can't think of the term. Put it up on screen. Like Destiny, Fortnite, where they update the game, they update the online mode regularly. Is that what Ratchet's gonna become? Also wondering though, if it's gonna be a new trilogy, is it just gonna be the first game that has this online thing, or are they all three of them gonna have the same online mode? I mean, maybe with the PS5, since you can download the online mode separately, maybe, you know, because that's what they're talking about. That's one of the rumors, or no, I think they confirmed that. You can just download the main campaign or the online mode separately. So maybe this online mode that you would download separately would be the same for these trilogy of games. Like that part kind of strikes me weird that they're saying it's going to be a big free-to-play online mode, but it's also going to be a trilogy of games. That's the only sketchy thing to me, to be honest. I mean, give them some slack. It does say still being decided. I don't know, man. This is just, it's super weird. This is super out of nowhere, super weird that some of these things on here are just like, you either like are very familiar with Ratchet and Clank, you did an extensive amount of research about all of these games. I don't know about all the other games. I think they're pretty the same. But like Ratchet and Clank, like it's really successful, but it's no Uncharted. It's no The Last of Us, you know? Like somebody really, really knew what they were doing here, or it's true. Because all of these things, I've been saying the same thing, basically. Now, the difference is, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm saying this could be what happens because I kind of see how it makes sense. This rumor is saying this is what's happening. I am not saying this rumor is true, but I do not get your hopes up. Just calm down. The event, the PlayStation 5 event, is happening in like weeks, like the February 5th with the rumor. I don't think that's true though. I think it's more, that was the other thing. I think they said February 5th on this rumor, which I have a hard time believing. That's like it's like 2 weeks away and they haven't announced it yet. February 12th was the other date that they've been running with, or that was the big rumor for a while. I believe that more. That makes a lot more sense. What is that? I think the following Wednesday. So yeah, big boy news. This is just super strange to me that this is just everything that I have been talking about. But hey, about the PlayStation 5, again, I said it in the post, but subscribe, hit the bell, because I will be doing a live stream with the PlayStation 5 event, hoping for a Ratchet and Clank announcement. If you want to be there with me, I think it'd be really cool to share the moment with others that really care about it. So, I mean, please, hey, if not, I'll have a great time on my own, but I think it would be cool to share it with other people. Subscribe, hit the bell, make sure you don't miss that. We'll fact check to see if all these things are true or not, because it's super weird to me. It's super weird. I don't know, all these things just sound too good to be true, but then again, Sony is kind of big. The PS4 was a massive success. They have loads of money. Maybe they can deliver too good to be true at this point, but it's not. Let's just be patient, okay? Whatever, I don't know. I'm just making this run on now. Please subscribe, hit the bell, don't miss the stream. Subscribe for more of these talking head Ratchet and Clank things. If they announce the game, I'll do some reactionary stuff to that, but if not, I'll probably do like one more, and then we'll move on to some other things like Sly Jack. We'll talk about some other games, do some more gameplay things like that. Check out my Death Stranding 30-minute playthrough where I played the whole game in 50 hours, condensed it down to a 30-minute playthrough with no context, and it's just a super cut of insanity. I want to do more of that, so let me know if you like that. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Is this true? Is this all gonna happen? I don't know. Take all this with a grain of salt. Don't want to get anyone's hopes up. Just be patient. It's like 3-4 weeks away. We're gonna find out, okay? But if you really can't keep it in your britches, make sure you check out that post-Nexus video I'm uploading. It's a big boy. It's a big boy, but I swear it's all very important information anyways. Thank you all so much for your time. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Peace.